starting to join. This way we can at least get our recording going. So let's see, yeah, because it's 4:01. So we'll go ahead and get started and people will start to trickle on. So when I look at this. Okay, so this isn't for East Coast school. I saw somebody, I think Ted may have said this. This is actually for Carolina Photo Expo. So Susan's class is for Carolina Photo Expo. So we have a pre-con class that is right before Carolina Photo Expo in July. So July 19th is Susan's class. And we have several classes. But Susan's the one we're doing today. But we have like 3 one-day classes and 1 2-day class. So, but that's for our state convention. So hers is not a pre-con class for East Coast School. It's a pre-con class for Carolina Photo Expo. So we have 2 big events going on in June and July. And we tried to separate everything as far as possible, but that's about as far as we can go. We have to deal with all the other schools that are part of, that work alongside with PPA, that are, well, we used to be called affiliate schools, and I guess now what are we called? Annie, do you remember?
Community partner schools.
Community partner, yeah, we're called community network partners or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, this is part of our state convention and not for East Coast School. So it's 2 different events going on. So I know it gets a little confusing because we've got both things running and emails going out and texts going out to everybody. So it gets a little bit confusing. Thanks. Sorry, Ted. But yeah, come to this too. So, and you don't have to go to Carolina Photo Expo in order to go to the pre-con classes. We'd love for you to come, but it's not required. You can go to the pre-con classes without having to go to Carolina Photo Expo. So, so yeah, so let's get talking about Susan.
Let's get talking about boudoir storytelling. So
and definitely I want you to give us a little bit of information about you and like how did you get started into this whole journey, and then talk about your class. How's that?
Oh my gosh, I love telling this story. So quite by accident is the short answer.
Okay.
I was not into, first of all, I didn't know that there was a thing called boudoir because I live on the East Coast, and at the time only the boudoir divas were doing their thing.
Just toss it.
Oh, somebody's unmuted.
Oh, can you her, Anne?
Only the boudoir divas were doing their thing, and they were on the West Coast. So I didn't even know that what I was doing by accident was boudoir. And essentially I was a painter and I wanted to do a series of paintings. And I asked a dear friend of mine who had been a ballerina, I said, can I take some pictures of you so that I can create paintings? And we decided we were going to do toe shoes and tulle and nudes. And when she saw the pictures, she started crying and she said, I didn't know I was still that beautiful ballerina, because she was a mom of 2 and she had lost that identity. And here it was in the pictures. But the funny thing is, I was not a professional photographer at the time. I didn't even own lighting. I bought a $39 strobe from Amazon that I didn't know how to even set to light. So I used this modeling lamp, a 12-inch softbox, and still the pictures came out beautiful. And the best part is we told her story, right? So that's where my passion for storytelling started, in that basement with the 12-inch softbox and shooting on auto, probably. With these images. So that's where it started. And I shot from my living room for a year. I figured maybe other women could use this. And I started shooting women out of my living room for a full year until my husband said, I would really like my living room back. And then I got a studio, and that was the beginning of what's been almost 20 years in this journey. Now, I'm curious, who here is interested in shooting boudoir, who's not shooting boudoir or just getting going and shooting boudoir? Is there anybody here who's looking to get into it, or?
So I used to shoot it and I have it
Mhm.
for a while, but I've thought about getting back into it.
Mm, yeah. How
I'm
about you, Tanya? Are you
I'm in
into
my
shooting?
second year
Hmm.
of doing it.
You're in your second year. Awesome. Wonderful. So yeah, so would you like me to just talk a little bit about what I plan to talk about? Does anybody want to share where you are, where you want to go, how, maybe this presentation and training and hands-on experience could possibly help you in moving forward?
Yeah, Christy said she's just starting to offer boudoir.
Oh, very
And I know
nice.
there are a few members that aren't here right now that are interested in it, so it would be awesome to just have you kind of let
Yeah.
them know what to expect and what they would get from your class too.
Yeah, okay, happy to share. So I will share that, and you feel free to, since we're a small group, if you have questions, feel free to just jump in there. So I'm not a talking head, but what I realized is because of the way that I started with boudoir, my mission was always very specific, right? I had a tagline that was illuminating the power of the feminine. That was my purpose. And it was really motivated by the fact that I kept meeting these women who were absolutely stunning. And I would tell them, "You're beautiful." And they'd say, "Oh my gosh, no, I'm not. I have a fat this or that." And I realized most women, including myself at the time, could not see my own beauty. They couldn't see their own beauty. So when I asked them about how they wanted to see themselves, which they weren't at the time seeing themselves, I helped them co-create these stories so that, maybe it was a woman who just had a breast removed. And she said, "Well, I feel like I'm not a woman anymore." And I said, "Well, what does feeling like a woman look like for you?" And so we would create a whole shoot around that. Another woman, maybe she was just getting divorced, and we would create a story around the person that she wanted to step back into becoming. What would make her feel powerful again, right? And so through this experience, I realized that treating women as if they're just, one and the same, an assembly line, which some photographers do, is fine if that's all they're looking for, just a couple pretty pictures. But we empower them and we make more money, to be completely frank, if we get them engaged and committed to the process of co-creation in telling their story. I have had so many clients who have come to me 6, 7, 8 years in a row, back again and again and again, because each time they're like, "I want to tell a different story this time." And so they use the experience almost as like a journal of their growth, whether it's a fitness journey or a self-discovery journey. And so working with them to tell their stories, whichever story it is they decide to tell, is just an empowering experience all by itself. Like I've had clients say, "I don't even need the pictures." Just the experience alone has been so amazing, right? I know who I am now. And of course they're kidding. They want the pictures. But it's a different level of service that you can charge better for, right? So like I had started out when I first got my studio, I think my average sale was like $1,200. I inched it up to $1,500 a sale. And then when I realized like what I was really delivering, I really revamped my pricing, and then my average sale was 4,500. Like that's a huge difference, right? Now you have to work less, shoot less people, put more energy into the people that you have, and deliver a better service, work with better products, right? So really this storytelling idea is huge. It's huge because it's different from how a lot of photographers are approaching it, first off. And they come in usually thinking this is a one-time thing that I'm going to do. And then through the experience realize, oh my goodness, no, I could do this again and again and again, because there's so much that I'm exploring about who I am. And because it has deeper meaning for them, they're going to invest at a higher level, because these memories are sacred now. It's not just about a sexy picture. It's about, I've poured my heart and soul into these pictures, into creating this self-expression. So this is so much more valuable to me. Right? Does that make sense? So I'm very passionate about that. Even when women call me and say, oh, I don't care. I just, whatever you think, you're the photographer. That is never an acceptable answer. And then it doesn't take too much prodding for them to realize, oh, no, you're right. You're right. I actually do have a vision in mind, or I have a goal for how I want to feel when I see these pictures, right? Or through the process even. So yeah. Does anybody have any questions? What's your reaction to that? How do you feel like that? Does that relate to how you shoot your clients, or is it?
So I know I do that with like my families and my seniors. So I'm seeing how
Yeah.
you could definitely bring that into your boudoir with like a questionnaire of some sort, where you really dive deep into some personal questions to get to know them. Is that something you'll be going over during your class and teaching your students exactly what you do as far as your whole entire technique from start to finish with
Absolutely.
clients? And that's great.
Because
Very
it
good.
starts at the first phone call, right? Because you
Yeah.
really want them to know, and I don't really do a questionnaire.
Okay.
It's, I want them to understand that this is like a one-to-one kind of experience from the very
Okay.
beginning. And the interesting thing is what they generally will write down. I have an intake form and they might say some things in there. But what I find is when you really get them one-on-one, like I get them on a Zoom call,
Yeah.
they it's like there's the cover story
Right. Right.
and then there's the real story underneath. And once they feel comfortable with you, that's when they're going to actually share it. And so I do a Zoom call with them where we just, we engage like girlfriends who've known each other for a really long time. And they'll tell me their stories and they'll say, well, really, really, it's for me. Because they'll think,
Hmm.
oh, initially it's for him, it's for him, it's for his birthday. He wants me to do this. And then they'll say, no, really, it's for me. And this is what I would love, right? And so that
Right.
we get to the real story. But I will be sharing that whole process. I implemented a couple years back a mood board part of the process where we would actually look at the poses, possible poses, and what does that say, right? Which poses speak to the self-expression that they want to match up with, right?
Nice.
Yeah, because it's easy for women to point to like, oh, I've seen this pose a lot. Everybody does this pose. I want to do that pose, in which case they're just trying to emulate something. And that can actually be dangerous because if they're not shaped the way the person is in the image, they're not
Right.
going to be happy with the outcome.
How long is your planning process from the start with your client? How long do you usually spend?
That is based on the person, to be honest, like, and also how much lead time we have. So if I have somebody who books 2 months in advance, we have a little more time to play. I will get them on the Zoom call. That's usually the first thing that we do once we have a date on the calendar. And then some people come with a very clear idea. They're like, this is the expression, this is the vibe of what I'm going for. And maybe it doesn't feel like boudoir, maybe it doesn't look like boudoir, but this is what I want to go for. And then we'll map it out. We'll literally put a mood board together. Other clients have no idea, and it takes a little bit of coaxing to get it from them, right? So that we can shape something, in which case we'll do the Zoom call. Maybe we'll throw some ideas back and forth, and then we'll have a final call before the shoot day. But I want everything to be buttoned up before the shoot day so that we're taking some of the nervousness out of the equation so that on the day, it's really just about them settling into that expression. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions for Susan for her class? Nope. Anything else you want to tell us about what to expect or what we can learn in your class?
Yeah, so my plan really was to talk about the benefits of storytelling, right? Not everybody looks at it that way. Like, because we're photographers, we're looking at, making the best possible images that the client looks pretty in. And the interesting thing is I've had clients who, you know, they walk in once they get hair and makeup done, they look like supermodels, right? And
Mhm.
then I'll take a picture of them where they look like straight out of a magazine, and they'll bypass that image. I'll say, wait a minute, back up, look at that image. And they'll say, yeah, doesn't look like me, wasn't what I was going for, right? Because they don't yet see themselves that way. So it's really fascinating because, and this is why the storytelling part is so important, because maybe she just wanted to feel romantic. She's just engaged and she's getting married, right? And this image makes her look powerful and fierce. And she's like, whoa, yeah, no.
Mm.
Right? So it's really fun. The storytelling part is so powerful. And then the posing with it, right? Because I know a lot of photographers teach this flow posing thing, which I get it conceptually. I never do it. I never do it. There are poses that I will do with one client and never with another. And the way that I describe it to my clients is this: if you have somebody, like I had these, I called them the double mint twins. They came in, they were 5'11", both volleyball players. They were absolutely stunning. They looked like living Barbie dolls. And they've the longest legs. So there were certain poses that I did with them because they had that kind of athletic physique. And when I asked them, what do you love about your figure? They were like, my legs, my sculpted abs. So I used lighting in a particular way and I shot them in a particular way to highlight those things. Now, if I have a 4'10" girl or woman who is like, I hate my short legs, but I love my cleavage, I'm going to shoot her in a completely different way, right? Especially if she's like, I want to feel sultry. I want a totally different vibe, totally different story, right? So what I really want to focus on during this workshop is how do we take different storylines and capture those with lighting, with posing, with angles, all the things, right? And how do we engage them in the co-creation process?
Nice.
It's going to be fun.
It
Yeah,
sounds
that's
really
great.
fun.
That sounds great.
It's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to. I know there's somebody who's been reaching out to me online who's
That's
like,
me.
oh, that's you?
That's me.
That's
Yeah.
you? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go meet her because she's like,
I can't wait to meet you too. It's gonna be
we're
so fun.
we're gonna have a good time. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I would encourage anyone who sees this on the replay who wants to ask me any questions, just reach out. I'm happy to answer. I'm spending less and less time on Instagram, to be honest, because Instagram is like waging a war against boudoir photographers, it seems.
Yeah, I saw that. It's
It's
crazy.
really difficult. It's really difficult.
I see your Instagram stuff all the time. I'm like, oh my God, she must be just constantly on IG.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it comes across.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, because they're really squishing you guys. I mean,
They
so it's
are.
good that Sally's seeing it because
Yeah.
yeah, it's I've seen in some of the forums it's been a real issue.
Yeah, once a week, I feel like they block my account and then I have to remove some images off my Instagram. Yeah,
Mhm.
so, and that's a challenging thing too, right? Navigating social media with boudoir, you know? So if people want to talk about that, we can talk about that too. But like, and one of the things that I had learned to do for those of you who shoot boudoir is like, for example, I did this gorgeous fine art nude series. I had a client. Oh, this ties into story. So let me tell you this real quick. I had this beautiful Irish girl who was getting married, and she had really tight, short, like a little red afro. And she told her friend, she said, I'm gonna do boudoir. And they looked at her and they said, you're not sexy. You're just cute. And she called me and she said, I wanted to do this for my husband, but my friend said this. And I was like, what? I said, well, send me a picture of you and then send me a picture of what you think is beautiful and sexy. I had no idea what to expect because she told me, she's like, I have this little red afro. And she sent me this picture of her. She's adorable. And then she sends me a painting. It was like from the like Renaissance era kind of painting. She's like, this is what I find beautiful and sexy. I said, okay, now we are on. It is on, right? So we created a whole storyline about her being this like royalty. And I created a really fine art, like there's this old painting series called the Odalisque. So we use that as inspiration. And those, I'm like obsessed with those images. They're so beautiful. She looks straight like out of a painting. And she was so proud of them. She allowed me to share them, even though she's like totally nude. So I couldn't share them on Instagram, but I was like, I really want to share these pictures. So
Right.
what I did was I took one, I blurred it where you can just make out her frame, and I said censored. So I posted it on Instagram and I said, if you want to see this incredible series, go to my website, to my blog, and you'll see them. And I can't tell you how many people went over to my blog to see the pictures and then DM'd me going, that is an incredible series. And
Oh,
she
wow.
was so confident after that because she was in her element, right? Like she wasn't trying to be a Victoria's Secret model. She
Right.
was trying to be her.
I hope
Right?
she went and found new friends after that.
Seriously, right? I'm gonna
Right.
have to do some talking to her because she's coming back for her pregnancy shoot. She's pregnant now.
Ooh.
Yeah. But you know, it's that's the power that we have in our hands with that camera to help someone create a different story in their head about who they are and what their beauty is, right?
Yeah.
Love that.
Especially women who aren't your classic like Victoria's Secret model, right? Like I shot one woman who was probably close to 300 pounds, and she's like, I knew that you could show me my beauty. And we had the most fun shoot. Her images are outstanding. I have one on Instagram. They made me take the other one down. But we all need to understand that the goal is not to aim for this ideal that society keeps pushing, is
Right.
to understand who we are and where our beauty lies and find the beauty in that. And that's how we can do that, through storytelling and posing that really highlights that person's assets, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things I'm going to talk about in the workshop is 10 posing mistakes that I see over and over and over and over, and how to correct those. But I like to laugh a lot. So I created hilarious names for each of the 10 posing mistakes. So we're going to have fun with that too. All right.
That's awesome.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we let Susan go? Oh, sure, Sally.
You have a
Sally
question.
has
Susan, are we gonna be shooting in the class? Do we need to bring our own gear with us, or are we watching and
Yes.
taking notes?
So there's going to be a lecture part, and then we're going to go into like a demo and then a hands-on shooting component so that I can support people who are like, especially if it's new to you, the storytelling thing, right? I'll be there to help you.
Are we gonna be doing any editing? Do we need our laptops or anything, or just our camera gear?
Yeah, I didn't anticipate, spending time on the editing part, because I'm sure people will really want to be putting into play what they've learned, right? And spending that time in the shooting and creating as many images as possible. I mean, if everybody who attended wants to like have like a follow-up Zoom where we could talk about editing, I'm happy to just throw that in and do that. Not a problem. Yeah, but I think on
Nice.
that day between the lecture, the demo, and then the shooting, we probably want to spend as much time as possible, like creating the images and creating the storyline.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm just thinking about what gear we all need to pack and bring with.
Mhm.
Okay, super. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, so nice meeting all of you. I look
I'm
forward
so
to.
glad that-
Mm.
Yeah, that you
Yeah.
had this time to spend with us. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's just
Yes.
it lined up because I was like, there are several places that I've been wanting to check out, and North Carolina was on there. So when you guys reached out, I was like, oh, I'll get to go to North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Check that off the bucket list. So that's going to be 2 things I get to check off the bucket list this year. I just met Oprah, which was top of my bucket list.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
Yes, yes. So I was in her audience and I got to chat with her, and I'm sitting there going, this is just surreal.
Oh my gosh.
That's cool. Did you book her for a session?
That's what I was gonna ask. Did you give her a card?
Wow. I would probably drop my camera and break it. Thank you so much. Could you imagine? Oh my God. But I will tell you, she is so gracious. And, because they were like messing up with the teleprompter at one point, and she just was so gracious. She was like, well, you tell me when it's ready. And then she just jumped right back in, like the pro that she is. So it was really amazing to have that experience. But now I get to experience North Carolina.
Yay.
So
Don't
excited.
judge all of North Carolina on the part of the state where we're holding the school, because the best parts of the state are the ends, not the middle.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
the
Sally's
mountains
saying
and the
that.
beach.
I agree
Live
with
at the beach.
Sally.
Yeah, you're a
Uh,
few hours from the
Eastern
mountains and
North
a few
Carolina
hours from the
rules.
beach.
All right. Well, if I could get my husband to go with me, we'll spend extra time so we can go check it out.
Oh
Like
yeah,
for
you
real.
definitely
Yeah.
you definitely want him to come because you're not. It's just a few hours to the beach, and then
You won't be the only speaker going to the beach afterwards.
Oh,
I
there's
think there's
so
a
many
few
of them
of
coming
them.
and bringing their families so they can head to the beach after because
Mhm.
we're what a couple of hours to the beach is
We're
all.
2 hours to the beach.
It's
Yeah.
about 2.5 hours for me, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
we
That's
have beautiful
nice.
beaches.
Yeah, I feel so bad because my son just moved to San Antonio, and that's really far from the beach where he is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so well, Michael is your name, Michael. You're gonna be able to see the replay because it looked like you popped off, or were you listening the whole time?
I've been listening the whole time.
Oh, great. Did you have any questions that I could answer for you?
I think you have answered them all, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the posing.
Awesome. Wonderful.
To women are they hate some parts of their body, so I'm looking forward to learning how to take that away from the image. By putting their face closer and things like that. Learning all those tricks.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you just brought up, because like we'll talk about that too, because I would say 9 out of 10 women who come into my studio hesitated in even doing boudoir because they're like, my stomach, I don't love my stomach. And so
Yep.
so much so that it caused them to maybe delay this for a couple years, right? So we have to, through posing, and also guiding them with the outfits before they even get there, so that they pick the right outfits. They're already feeling good straight out of the gate, and then we're posing them in a way that emphasizes their confidence, right? Yes. Yes. Like a lot of times people surprise me. They'll look at my website and then they'll call me and they'll say, do you shoot any plus size people or any curvy people? I'm like, yeah, they're all over my website.
Right.
They didn't notice, right? That was not the first thing that hit them when they saw the images. They just saw beautiful images of beautiful women. So yeah, then they go back and they're like, oh, I don't even know. I didn't notice, right? And that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that is good. Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, Terrence.
Hey, how you doing?
Are you planning on attending the boudoir workshop?
It sounds- I was wondering if you've ever photographed bodybuilders.
I have. I
Okay.
have bodybuilders, and I just shot a man who called me about a month ago, and he said, I'm a big guy. My friends call me a bear. And he said, but I really wanted to do a shoot like this. And I can't find even any inspiration pictures to show you of what I want. Right. And he was right. I went looking. I couldn't find any. And I said, don't you worry, I got you. So we came up with concepts and we did the shoot. And he's like, I want you to splash my pictures all over the internet. I want other big men, big bone men to see that they can do this, that this is for them, right? Because he said, I got the feeling like maybe this wasn't for me because I didn't see any examples of people who look like me, which was interesting. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a lot of laughs. I'm always laughing in the studio as we learn, we'll laugh, we'll play, we'll create art. That's the goal.
Good.
Awesome, right?
Sounds like we might need an athletic model to have as
Mm.
well.
Well,
Or
the
maybe not.
athlete is a good I shoot athletes very different from,
Mhm.
your everyday woman, because they
Yeah.
usually want their muscles to be popping. They
Right,
want that work that they have put into creating those muscles to really show. So even the lighting, the angles, everything has to be a bit different, because again, what story are we telling? We're telling
right,
the story of how they've done all this work to sculpt their body and create like this work of art. And so we better show it off.
right.
Right?
Well, we'll have to line up several different types of models for you so that you have, three or four different looks for sure then.
Yeah. Well,
That would
let's
be
let's
fun.
let's definitely put our heads together on that if that's helpful, so that
Yeah.
we can make sure we got the best, scenarios. Because one of the things I would love to have someone who's curvy.
Yes,
So yeah,
definitely.
yeah, because that is a common thing, right? It's like
Right.
a lot of curvy women feel intimidated about doing this, and they feel
Most definitely.
nervous. Like, am I gonna feel embarrassed because I don't like the way I'm being shot? And so,
Right. Yeah, like when you have
yeah.
a double chin and the
Mm.
waist and
I think it's really
the
helpful to the
thighs.
photographers too, because we get people and we want to make them look good. We just don't know how. So
Right.
Yeah.
having real scenarios is,
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
definitely want to make sure we have some real scenario
we
women
can talk
available.
offline about it too, and you can
Yeah.
just maybe make a list of things that you want or
Yeah.
need.
Yes.
And I can share them with Anna, make sure we get those for you.
That sounds
Yep.
great. Yeah, yeah. Because I was definitely thinking like a mature woman, right? Sometimes the mature women
Yep.
also worry, like, oh, am I gonna look all wrinkly and
Right. Get someone that's in their 60s, because
Yes. Yes, I have a beautiful 64-year-old muse. She is incredible. And I actually am going to be writing an article for Rangefinder, because
Oh, nice.
I proposed a concept to Rangefinder, and I said, here are 4 different article ideas. If you're interested, let me know. And they were like, we want to do all of them. Let's start with the first
Oh my gosh.
one. And the first one is about marketing to and shooting women who are over 50.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that's a big market.
It's
It really is.
huge. I actually
Mhm.
looked at my SEO, and the top 2 most search keywords are mature boudoir photography
Yeah. Nice.
coming to my
Okay.
website. So yeah, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it, guys.
All
If you
right.
have any questions in the meantime, reach out. But I guess let's put our heads together on just like finalizing the details, and I will look forward to seeing you all in July.
Yes.
That's great.
Woohoo.
Thank you so much for
All
spending the
right.
time with us.
Yeah, this was so much fun. I
Yes,
can't wait.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.